The Omni X-Men are back. All new, all different because we got an awesome guest tonight. But first up, Justin from KnowGood Comics. How you doing?
Yo, yo, yo. What's up, John? Doing good. Doing real good. Tuesday, back again. Week's
Best
flying.
night of the week now, man. I'll tell you.
Yeah, man. For
And we're
sure.
joined by Brandon from the ComixKings. How you doing, Brandon?
I'm good. Thank you guys so much for having me. Glad to see everyone in the chat. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man.
I put the link for Brandon's YouTube channel down below, but I'm going to drop the link for his Instagram as well, where you can find him on Instagram. It's just like his name is there in the parentheses, comics with an X and Kings. So Brandon was in one of our early show chats and he was tearing it up. And I sent him a message right off the bat. I was like, hey, man, if you want to join us at all, let us know. And I'm super pumped that you were able to find the time to join us for this.
No problem. Again, it's my pleasure being here. I love the X-Men. I love this run. Came out way before I was born, but it's one of my favorite arcs in the X-Men.
Well, I think you're among friends here on that one for sure, because we are tearing through this omnibus. And for those that are new to this show, it rotates between Justin's channel and mine. I'm the evens, he's the odds. So we're on issue 102 tonight. This is that classic Juggernaut Colossus cover there.
So good. That's a good Throwdown Thursday right there, John.
It's a great Throwdown Thursday cover. Absolutely. These two titans of the mutant world going head to head. So make sure you're subscribed to Justin's channel. I put the link for his down below as well. Every Tuesday, 9 Eastern, we're running through this show. And as you can look in the chat and see, there are some regulars hanging tough.
All right.
So let's say hello. We got Salandal Fatima has been coming by pretty much every single time. So thank you for tailgating a little early here.
Awesome.
Of course, my man Ruben Guzman is here. I hope you're enjoying the Pacific Northwest now. You've moved a little further north. I hope you're doing well up there.
Ruben.
You got to stop in and say hi to Bueller. Hello, Todd Christian. Thank you for coming by as always.
Hey, Todd.
John does it for the culture. I'm all about the culture. Is that what's happening? Never really knew.
Big E.
Hello, Magic Lasso, saluting the immortal Biggie Shack, as we all should.
I wanted to take a quick second and give a huge shout out and thanks to Magic Lasso. He had some really kind words to say about our show. He recently posted a YouTube video, I think yesterday, and he mentioned it. I just went and checked it out a little while ago, and it was really, really nice words that he had about us and just about the show overall, how much he enjoys what we've been doing here, and he looks forward to doing it every Tuesday. Obviously, he's one of our regulars, as you mentioned, regulars. So, Lasso, thank you, dude, so much for the shout out. And if you guys haven't checked out his channel, I highly recommend.
Yeah, I gotta watch this video. Apparently, I don't know how I missed it. It must be something weird on my feed. If you ever want to join us, if there's an issue coming up, we don't have a guest until issue 105 when we got Jeffrey Comic-Con joining us. So you got issue 103, issue 104, and then anything after that you're looking for. The only one that is also spoken for is Chet is coming back for issue 109. So
back again.
If you got an issue you want to join with us to talk about, let us know.
That'd be cool.
Hello to California Blend, the
artist
behind the Batman piece right there.
I got my Jean Grey behind me. Thank you, Gabby, for that.
Community original art chief. Thank you for coming by.
Oh, yeah.
The Jackson Roy Kirk, one of the leaders on our board here, coming in third place, I think, right now.
Yeah, he's up there.
Right in there around that third place range there. Of course, we mentioned Chet. Thank you for coming by, Chet. You rock, man.
The man.
Comic Chop News Dan is in the chat. He's got a great channel as well if you haven't checked it out before. Lots of good stuff there.
Hey, what's up? What's up?
Chet says he's got a 9-4 with a Stan Lee signature on this bad boy.
No big deal. No big deal.
Yeah, nothing big.
It's just Stan.
Thank you for the plug. He's on 130. There you go. For 9 years.
Awesome.
He'll be on the show next year.
Jackson Riker says, wasn't it 111 that you showed? I don't know. I don't know. I'll be on issue 130. Look at that. Okay, yeah, everybody's making jokes about it. Okay. So here we are. We're at issue 102. A sequel in some ways to one of the greatest X-Men covers of all time. So, Justin, let's dive right in. How would you rate this issue?
So I'm definitely going to keep it up in the mid 8s. I'd have to say. I really enjoyed everything from the artwork, the way that the paneling was laid out, and I know we're going to show some panels here in a little bit. Dave Cockrum's still just working the magic that he does, and then it's just like action packed, which to me that automatically brings it up to at least an 8. I mean, this could easily be a 9 even. I really have no problems with the issue. I mean, it leaves you hanging again, which we kind of want that, right? It does give you some context to what we were left off with, kind of diving into these the X-Men falling into this trap and all. So yeah, man, it's kind of brutal because there's some great action, but the guys kind of get their butts kicked. So I'm curious to see where it goes from there. Although I have some ideas, but yeah, overall, I really enjoyed the issue.
So sorry, Lasso, I got you booked. You're on issue 130, locked and loaded. Boom.
Sweet.
And Brandon, how about you? How are you feeling about this issue 102?
I definitely liked it. It's up there in one of my highlights for this run. The less Scott Summers, the better, because I'm not his biggest fan. It's just the opening. I was like, okay, I got 3 pages of Scott. What could have made it better for me is just dragging out a little bit more between Banshee and Black Tom, because we never really get to see that a whole lot in comics. So I would have liked to see that because I like my niche X-Men kind of getting a little bit more screen time sometimes. And I think this would have been a great issue to capitalize that a little bit more and giving him that spotlight a little bit. But I'd give it around a 7.9. I'm a hard grader.
That's good. You'd be new, man. That's awesome. Yeah. I think I would probably put this in the 8 range. I think somewhere in that 8 sounds good for me. Definitely parts that I liked more than others. It does highlight my 3 favorite X-Men, Colossus. You got Colossus, Nightcrawler, and Storm all having a little part to play here. And anytime those 3 get prominence, I usually enjoy the issue. I'm also something of a Juggernaut fan. I think he can be a really interesting character to use. And certainly when you've got bruisers on both sides, that slugfest kind of thing can be very entertaining. It's definitely not a low ranking issue, but not the best that we've read so far, anywhere near the top for me. All right, so let's do we want to dive into some of the artwork here and take a look?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so yeah, this is issue 102, that great cover. Any thoughts on the cover, gentlemen? How you feeling about this slugfest, cowering Storm, Nightcrawler kind of hanging in the back there? What are some of your thoughts here, Brandon?
I definitely like it. Again, Colossus has never really been a character for me that really clicked. I enjoyed him very much in this issue. This is one of my favorite Colossus stories. I was actually just reading X-Men Gold 30, which was his wedding, so this is definitely a step up from that issue. It's a solid cover. It does its job. It doesn't do anything super crazy like the previous one did, or that we're going to see in the future with Phoenix Saga coming up, or we're in the beginning of it. So it's solid. It's solid.
And what about you, Justin? What do you think of this cover?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm a big fan of Colossus, and I'm also just a big fan of these types of covers that show like a head-to-head collision between 2 beasts per se. But also I think that just does a good job of kind of leaving off, the hints of where we left off, like, Storm being in the corner. And if you didn't read the last issue, it definitely, I could see it being really intriguing as to like, what is happening right now? Why is Storm on the floor? And, obviously these two guys are going at it like this. So I'm a fan of the head-to-head stuff. I think that's why I do so many hashtag Throwdown Thursdays, and I have a lot of content for those hashtags. So, like I said earlier, this is definitely a perfect one for that.
If Hack is in the chat, I'm sorry you're not popping up. Maybe you're getting blocked by somebody. So if there's a moderator rolling through, I know TJ's usually around. He can. Then Biggie Shack, I think, is a moderator too. Nice to see you, Hack. I just can't. You're not popping up in my StreamYard yet. So yeah, I really dig this cover. I like the depth. I love the green. I've always loved the background in these issues. I feel like I've been more and more really being blown away by the use of color on backgrounds in those splash pages and stuff. So the green like wall they got going here, I'm really digging. I like the poses for everybody. Colossus's fist doing the uppercut is a little weird. It almost looks like there's a jewel on Juggernaut's chest or something. It's a funny little positioning there, but I dig the rest.
That's not really the right way you want to throw an uppercut too.
Right.
Technically, right.
And he's also going to bring the other fist. It looks like I don't know what he's doing with that other fist.
Yeah, that part was a little weird. I like Nightcrawler on the chandelier.
Right, Nightcrawler in the background. Yeah. But that's his style. He's always like lurking, right? He's lurking. All right, so let's dive in here. We had another cliffhanger from last time. The Juggernaut rolled in, started laying waste to our guys, and then Storm crumpling to the ground in agony. I actually prefer this angle to the one on the cover in a lot of ways because Storm is so prominent, and everybody's getting. I mean, you got Wolverine going ass over tea kettle down there on the ground. He's getting rolled.
He is getting rolled,
just legitimately rolled. So I dig this page and the splash of Juggernaut in green, so cool.
Yeah, I have to say these like starter panels, like they are really, I know there's a name for it, but these like opening panels, these past couple issues have just been awesome. I feel like it really just does the whole book a good justice of just like what it's about and where we're going. So I just love the artwork on this.
I agree 100%. I couldn't have said it any better. I love the fact that you just open up with the theme of Juggernaut just destroying Colossus. Can you look at what Colossus is supposed to be when Cochran hopped on the book? He was supposed to be like the equivalent of the Thing, right? The Thing was so popular in the Fantastic Four, as we saw in 2 and 1 and throughout the whole series. They're like, Colossus can be the next Thing, just a little bit more diverse with the Russian side. So the fact that he's just getting his ass handed to him by Juggernaut, someone that they want to be their highlight, not so much Wolverine in this moment of the arc, shows a whole lot about what we're going to see in the rest of the issue, which I loved.
Totally. And yeah, like Justin said too, this is like a wall-to-wall fight for the most part. We get our Cyclops moments, but it's a lot of fighting in this issue.
Yeah.
So it's a Cassidy family reunion. We have a lot of time. I think Brandon, you talked a little bit about those. We don't want to say lesser mutants, those second tier. Those you use the word niche mutants. Do you feel like Banshee is one of those niche characters?
I think he turned into one. I think what was it? Because after the whole Wall of Banshee arc, which wasn't even that big of an arc, I believe it was 2 or 3 parts. It couldn't have been any more. You know, he was just kind of there. If he was in, he was kind of making appearances, pop ups. He never really played a big role. So this could have been his moment to shine. At a recent con I was at in February, I was talking with Declan Shavley about it. Sounds like his favorite. They're both Irish, of course. So it's like we were kind of talking about the history of Banshee, and he obviously knew much more than I did because that's like his hero. You know, it's someone who he looks up to. So I'm always intrigued whenever I see someone like Banshee who just kind of dipped and is slowly working his way back up. Even in the X-Men relaunch, we didn't see Banshee for the long. He was one of the last mutants we saw coming back. So I feel like he's slowly getting forgotten about, you know, but it's like, oh yeah, Banshee's a thing when we want him to be.
I agree. I mean, I think his power is not as glamorous and fun to see on screen in movies. So I think he's not gotten the same love, even though they did a pretty decent job with him in the First Class movie. I think they used his character well. He is an odd character, and I dig the costume. I think he's quite funny. And to see him brawling with family like this, I think it's an interesting dynamic, the Black Tom versus the Banshee kind of thing. They don't really go into much of why Black Tom is. He doesn't do his like monologuing yet as far as like what his big scheme is. It's really just, I'm going to do this and you're going to suck it. Like that. That's kind of, it's definitely a big brother move.
We don't hear his Dr. Evil plan yet.
he's like, this is mine. Fuck you. I'll explain later.
Basically, I do really like this scene though, where Banshee's like, all right, fine. Like I can't use my powers. Well, how about I just punch you in the face, dude?
Which is definitely the method this episode. You know, this issue has a lot of let's just punch it and just punch somebody and see what happens.
It's great to see another family fighting than the Summers or the Braddock. So I give that thumbs up.
Very true.
Well, at least we can find a couple other families getting in fights. TJ, I know watches while eating dinner. I hope you didn't get too hungry waiting for us, brother. So thank you for coming by, man.
Good to see you, TJ.
So let's continue along here. This was great. I made this panel up. I made this screenshot here or whatever up. And then Justin sent me the exact same thing. He's like, "Is this a reverse fall special?"
Totally. Without his permission, though, I'm sure.
So you have this like great Wolverine move that like makes you really question like how strong is Wolverine?
Yeah.
That he can sort of throw Colossus a little bit.
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit far-fetched for the way he throws him, especially knowing how strong Colossus is. But yeah, I like reading this. I'm just like, guys, don't fight with each other. And then, lo and behold, you got Wolverine just using him as a weapon to throw at Juggernaut, which kind of worked out. So at least for the moment.
Didn't look like he was throwing him very far, so
right.
It sort of swings him a little bit and just lets go. A little momentum shift.
Yeah, I was gonna use the same thing. I'm a martial artist, so like one of the self-defense moves we use is when someone's coming at you, just grab behind their neck and you grab their forearm and you just use their energy and push them forward.
Oh wow.
So
do you say way to go Rusky too?
Sorry?
Do you say way to go Rusky too when you do that?
Usually what I say is not so nice.
Oh, that's hilarious. So this was Wolverine and Colossus working together, bickering with each other. Like right after that move, Colossus is like, "Don't you call me that? How dare you do this?" And then like Colossus, look out! And then they just waited long enough for Juggernaut to come in and lay them both out.
Cathow,
indeed. And then Wolverine tries to lay into him with the claws, and you get like it creates these little pink coronavirus sparks.
Oh,
maybe that's where it came from. I don't know.
Wolverine and Juggernaut created the coronavirus.
And adamantium plus that magical helmet, right?
That's where it all started. That's when the world went to hell. The Canadian just fucked us over.
It is a cool like scene of how he's like slicing and dicing, and yet all you're getting is a long screek. But it looks cool.
So do you think, Brandon, I mean, we've got Nightcrawler, Colossus, and Wolverine basically fighting Juggernaut. Could any one of them stand alone against Juggernaut?
Honestly, I don't think any of them really could. When you're talking about the Juggernaut, it's not just the mutant power behind him. It's like that mystical like feature that he has. I'm looking for the right words, and it's like Wolverine can stand toe to toe with him because he can take so much damage. But against Juggernaut, if you don't remove that helmet, or you're not able to divert his energy, it's not gonna work very well. Same thing with Colossus. They're good at taking hits.
Right.
That's what they've been doing all issue. They've been taking hits. They're able to stand toe to toe with Juggernaut, but can they defeat them in a one-on-one battle? Not a chance.
Right.
Forward momentum is just too overwhelming for either of them to be able to put themselves in an attack stance.
What do you think, Justin?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm still, I mean, from my understandings of Juggernaut and his powers and how things work, and from the things I've read, or at least the lack of things that I've read about the character, I imagine that none of them actually really could go toe to toe with him in the long run if you just place them both in a room together and they went at it. I actually wanted to ask both of you if you've read the earlier Stan Lee stuff, and I know they hinted it a little bit in this issue, but like what exactly happened? And I don't want to go off too much on a tangent, but just curious if you guys know what exactly happened to how Jean and them kind of defeated him, or they said that it was Professor X and Jean in this issue.
I mean, they had to get the helmet off to effectively attack him. He's got this magical, mystical helmet, and obviously it's Xavier's, was it stepbrother or something like that?
Yeah.
So another family, family,
Marco Kane. Yeah.
But yeah, as I remember it, they had to get the helmet off, and then they combined their psychic powers to like take him down.
Overwhelm him. I think Cyclops stunned him before they were able to remove it, and I think he used a little bit of telekinesis to do so.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Hello. hello to Apex in the chat, and hello to Perry in the chat.
Perry.
Some people are saying you got to rip that helmet off of Kane Marco. Get to him. It says Chet says Juggernaut can only be matched by Colossus, but not defeated by him. So what does the magic protect? Does the magic protect Jugger's exposed areas? Just chop his arm off, right? Chop that arm off.
Well, his arm is like too strong. So when you have that arm going full motion, you gotta be like Quicksilver fast to be able to react to that. You know, I don't think Wolverine has that kind of a jump, because keep in mind, right, the faster you move, the harder it's for Wolverine to tell, because it's to get overwhelmed by that. So that's why I think, like, and even Chet said, like, Colossus is the only one that could potentially go toe to toe just because of brute strength. Wolverine would just get overwhelmed by those, like, you know, it's like Zeke Elliott trying to block Aaron Donald in this year. Just didn't work.
Yeah, like I could see Wolverine also just being really stubborn about it and just thinking like, okay, let me just keep slashing away and just it not really working out.
I think I remember like an X-Force comic where they stabbed him in the eye. They like went
that was recent.
Right through the eye hole, but like even then it seemed like he was healing. Like it was like it wasn't able to permanently damage him in any kind of way.
Could Nightcrawler do it? I mean, could Nightcrawler like, you know, just bamf over him quickly?
In that story, I know they had to like chip away at the neck portion of the helmet and then finally like rip it off of him.
Oh, okay. So it's tough. It's tough to do.
It's complicated. But yeah, it's armor plus a force field, apparently. Thank you, Chet.
I gotta get his armor.
The force field is like that mystical.
That's that magical portion, absolutely.
Maybe that's what the pink things are that are floating from.
I'm assuming it's not. It's probably not COVID. So Nightcrawler getting involved. We talked a little bit about how Storm is crumpled to the ground, and he's trying to get her to get snap. He's like, "Snap out of it, woman! We're being murdered, Storm. Why won't you help?" There's a lot of fun like perspectives with Nightcrawler in this issue, where he's like, this is him climbing along the floor. But like I think they do a lot of fun stuff with the art and the perspective on him this issue, because he's the thinker. The other two, Colossus and Wolverine, are just laying into this guy.
Right. Yeah, I like how Nightcrawler can kind of just see everything going on because he's constantly up in the rafters or, you know, trying to get a clear view of everything. Right. But it is cool how they show these angles of him and kind of his abilities. I guess it's a good way to show off his abilities.
I thought it was a Rob Liefeld comic, but I didn't want to say anything, Dan. Shatterstar stabbed him. Nightcrawler is too weak. There you go.
Yeah.
It might be unpopular, but I still think Wolverine can take Juggernaut in one-on-one. I'd love to see it. Love to see it.
Who knows? Maybe if we petition a writer, we'll get it. You never know. What I really like about this panel, first off, I always love when Dave Cockrum draws Nightcrawler, not just because it's like his favorite. He stated that on multiple occasions. Nightcrawler is his man. So it's like it's nice to see Nightcrawler. And in today's world, I'm like, what would Nightcrawler say in this moment? When you are on drugs. But I do appreciate the angles, and just like drawing Nightcrawler as always, I think would be more challenging than just drawing like Wolverine or Colossus, just because he's constantly moving and changing up his angle. You also got to show what's going on in his mind, because he's intelligent, but he can't always really speak it.
Yeah. When you get a lot less like ability for perspective, when you have the yellow eyes that are very simplistically drawn, a lot of times it's harder to get the same emotive sort of emotions out of him, I think, in some cases. So, but an awesome character to create, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, I had to include this because my girl's getting just like lifted up by her hair. Come on,
not wifey. Come on now.
That's brutal.
I'm saying
brutal.
And then this sort of segues into the flashback you get. Sorry, there at the bottom, where she starts flashing back to her time living in Harlem, New York in 1951. She was in Harlem, which even I had forgotten that was a part of her backstory. I just knew her as the goddess of Africa, and now we got like Harlem.
Yeah, it's a jump.
It's a jump, and now you get a little bit of Nightcrawler climbing the wall and doing his bamf across and around. But really, it's just the lifting her up by her hair. Yikes!
Yeah, her face expression there. I mean, you feel the pain.
Ooh. I think the main reason for this backstory is like you wanted to draw, the main purpose of this X-Men relaunch was to bring diversity, to bring people. So this would speak to a new people in comics, right? Kind of growing community, especially people in Harlem. That was like a major population was African Americans coming over to Harlem.
Definitely.
So I think they did that just for like the sole purpose, saying, hey, look, here's someone that can relate to you guys. That is a very popular character. You can see like someone of your own skin color.
Totally.
Which was a complete revolution in comics, especially like, you know, with Black Panther in 1970 and now this, and like, what is this? We're in 75 when this issue came out, 76.
I think 76. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd have to find my at 101 to double check. But it was a setup, I think, in a lot of ways too, to give her backstory, which was like more to give her a weakness, a flaw, because she's pretty like invulnerable up to this point, I think, in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So sorry, go ahead.
It was 76.
76. Okay. You get to see her family when she was just a little 6-month-old baby, which still had the amazing hair and eye and like amazing eyes going, even as a little baby.
Yeah, I love that.
This is the baby Yoda moment for her.
Yeah, too chubby of a face.
Baby Storm is très cute. And then they go to Africa, and then there's this plane crash where she's buried in rubble, and really great art going on here. I love the blue wavy lines around those 3 panels at the bottom there. Really cool stuff. So what did you guys think, Justin, what did you think of this backstory for Storm that they laid in here?
I like that it kind of gave you the idea of, well, like you said, like she has some flaws, and, you know, I think from last issue too, they talked a little bit about how she felt claustrophobic, and, you know, this kind of goes into that a little bit, and, you know, at least like even with her being in the debris there at the bottom right, I think it's just all part of that haunting feeling or that memory that she has and always keeps with her, that you know, just kind of explains that.
Right.
So I like that it was part of the issue. I think it's another significant part to her story, so I think it's good that it's there.
How about you, Brandon?
Again, like I said, it just drove the character in a way that just speaks to more people, and that's why a lot of people do things in comics, is not only to drive the character, but to drive a community in a certain direction.
Totally.
Right? Again, I'm going to relate it to Black Panther. Look what the movie did. It just spoke to people that weren't even into comics, you know, and it grew our community like that much bigger, you know, because now like more people have someone to look up to, looking up to that higher power and escape the real world. So I think that was like this is a big step in Storm's characterization, because she's still a fairly new character. So again, it's just feeding that backstory, which is a great way of doing it in the heat of the moment, in the heat of a battle. There you go.
Right.
Yeah.
Chet, don't try to ruin my girl by telling me she's 71 years old now.
Kira already has kids.
Thankfully, I like older women, but seriously, brother, don't be doing that. Don't be damaging my love here.
Apex is right.
Whole list. Hello to you. Storm looks great for 71. Facts.
Yeah.
Yes.
So thank you guys for coming by and hanging out. The chat is awesome as always. And then I think this next one is the one that Justin and I both loved as our favorite one this week. The sort of montagey evolution of Storm from injured orphan to goddess of the country. By that I mean like the countryside, like out in the nature, because when we first meet her, when Xavier finds her, as we saw in Giant Size X-Men, she is considered a god. She's being worshipped. The people in and around her portion of Africa like seek her out for her aid in the weather in their area. So getting from buried in rubble to that was quite an evolution. Justin, what was your thoughts on this splash page here?
Yeah. I mean, well, first of all, just the layout, and this is what I was talking about when we first jumped on live. Was this? I love all of these types of layouts that Cockrum has done to really tell these little mini stories within the book. And again, I always bring this up, but when I first read this, I read it digitally. So I love this experience that I get where I'm reading just, the zoomed in top part. and the way it goes around the page as you keep swiping until you're done with the page, and then you just get hit with this massive picture, this collage of beautiful drawings and art. So it's really powerful. And then on top of that, I mean, I love the art in general, and then on top of that, I just like that we kind of get to see how Storm goes through this phase of like, she didn't have an easy life in any way. Like, she had to really like fight and do some things in order to kind of get to where she is. So it just builds even more of her back story. And as Brandon said, like, this is a very new character still at this time. You know, she's had less than 20 issues out, and so there's still a lot to learn about her as just an individual. So this was definitely a heavier side to see and to learn about her. So I really like that about it.
Totally. And yeah, the layout you mentioned, I do love the way her hair becomes the clouds in the background, or the way they blend one panel down and into the next. Some of the background light, the way they do that color work and that detail work is really strong. Brandon, do you have any thoughts on this page?
I mean, you guys hit it on all cylinders, you know. I kind of like her face, kind of like right in the middle. I think that's like the best Storm face we've seen all issue. Well, it's the one happy one we've seen all issue. But again, it's just like speaking to her struggle, and like we're kind of seeing her life progress throughout these few pages. So we're seeing her now growing up in a struggle. And again, that's like what defines like these heroes, is how they're overcoming their struggle. And there's always like something in fiction that you can relate to real life. You know, if you don't go through some struggle and you don't know how to handle it, right, you could revert to like any kind of escape. But if you learn how to overcome it, you're going to be so much better off. You're going to be a much better person. And that's how you become powerful, is how you handle those struggles. And this is a struggle that Storm has faced unlike any other mutant that we've really seen so far. So this is her struggle, and this is like what defines her, which we're going to see later on as her character grows and develops.
Yeah, it's very humanizing, you know, seeing somebody deal with something so challenging and continually butt up against it.
Even for a goddess.
Absolutely, even for a goddess.
Yep.
So Storm calls out to Xavier, and across time and space, he gets this signal and quickly pulls Cyclops aside and says, "The X-Men have been ambushed by Juggernaut. You must leave for Ireland immediately." And Cyclops is like, "No, not this time. I'm staying here at the hospital until Jean is out of danger." Which for me is a very rational response. Like, no, I mean, my lady's barely recovered. There's as many X-Men there. By the time I get there, they're either dead or alive. I'm not going to change it. By the time buying my plane ticket and flying over to Ireland, I'm not going to get there in time to rescue them. And then I had to include this because this is when Xavier earns his douchebag title, like officially. He responds like with intensity. "What? You're putting the life of one woman ahead of your fellow X-Men? How dare you, you ungrateful, unspeakable cur. I took you in, gave you, Scott, I gave you," and then like loses it. But like,
yeah. Look at his face, man. Look at his face.
Xavier not taking no for an answer.
Oh my gosh. This is Jerry Jones looking at his football team.
Seriously. Yeah, it's pretty intense. He's definitely, you know, going above and beyond here, the way he kind of snaps.
Here's my question for you guys. Do you think he would be able to pull that shit with any other mutant other than Scott Summers?
I know that no other, I mean, heck, you know, some of the characters just buck at the barest thing from him. So he legitimately lays into Cyclops, and yeah, I don't know. I'm surprised Cyclops takes as much of it as he does. I was like, wow. I guess back out of this.
I guess because of, you know, their history and just how long he's known Scott compared to everybody else. Maybe he has this like, you know, I can say that I can speak to him like this kind of mentality. You know, and he looks at him as like a son, I'm sure, you know. To some degree.
Well, I also love like Cyclops only speaks with his punctuation is all periods, but Xavier's punctuation is almost all giant, like double exclamation marks. Like everything is shouted.
He's like in bold too. It's
my
like
God.
Hospital, out of danger.
And then we get our third cameo of Lilandra there as like, you know,
Number 3.
The fractured mind of Xavier is invaded one more time by the spacesuit lady. Although this time we kind of see a face in the reflection this time.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, and this could be why Xavier's doing it. At this point, do you even know if Jean is still Jean? You really don't. You know that she came back and she wasn't the same. Is she the same Jean, or is it somebody else in Jean's body? We know later, clearly not. But it's like she was. So it's like, I see where Xavier's coming from, especially because he has such high expectations for Scott.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we get back. We also get a little Misty Knight here, which I love Misty Knight. She's awesome, and you get a creepy moment with Jean, like, you know, with the green writing around her. All of a sudden, like, she starts talking like some possessed character in a horror film.
It's The Exorcist. Yeah, that's what it reminds me.
How would you feel if you died, then brought yourself back to life? And then that's the end of it. There's really not much more after that. It's like, that's it.
Yeah, like, what did Misty say to her there? You know,
right?
She's like, look, I was just on call this night.
Yeah,
on call. I don't get to handle this.
Like, why don't you go back to sleep? I'm gonna go downstairs and grab some food and
drink him. Far across the street. I'm not enough of a character to do this shit yet.
Yeah, this is a little bit more than I signed on for.
Is this is Misty Knight's like first crossover with that we've seen, right?
With the X-Men? Yeah, I think this is her first time working with the X-Men, but she's been in a bunch of comics by this point.
Right.
Then the battle rages on. This is Nightcrawler running along a beam across the ceiling. Wolverine getting pimp slapped in bright pink and then knocked unconscious. And then I know that this one was for you, Brandon.
Yes.
Nightcrawler gets his moment of success.
Yes, and I love it. Again, it's just, to me, seeing Dave Cockrum draw Nightcrawler is just, you just can't see it every time, and it's just the same feeling. It's like one of those things. It's like watching Empire Strikes Back. You just can. It's the same feeling every time. You know, it's like that same kind of satisfaction once like things kind of go right-ish, right? You know, like Nightcrawler's, but he's a character of many struggles. He's a character of many hardships. So he's like very overlooked. Not to Cockrum, which thankfully. So I like to see Nightcrawler get his moments, his success, and just the way that he's drawn in these action sequences, still hanging from the chandelier. You know,
well, and the perspective is great again, right? He's like coming down the panel in that first one, and then swinging off and away in the other one. Love it.
Sia definitely took some inspiration from this panel when she made that song.
Hello to Lost in Comics, and I saw my man Just a Rican in his comics. Rod,
I like that username.
Misty becomes Jean's roommate in 3 issues. Better get ready. Because Chad also mentioned they were living a little Exorcist chat back there in that moment. I think that was what Justin was saying.
Yep.
So yeah, I love this great panel. I love the like color work again, the pink smoke, but then it hits him and the orange and yellow flame coming off of the face of the Juggernaut. And really the only real hit on the Juggernaut we've had at this point.
Yeah. Yes.
The Juggernaut actually calling out in pain for the first time in the issue.
Other than that Fastball special remix edition.
All right, so there he is in pain, cursing a goblin, our goblin. And then Black Tom to the rescue, knocks him down, and Nightcrawler half vanishes here in this like right-hand corner panel. Because why? Because leprechauns?
Yeah, this I was very confused as this started to go where it went.
Leprechauns. We really are in Ireland.
Charms. That's where it all came from.
Now I know this is all important because, well, I'll put important in quotes. Important in the sense that these leprechauns will be important in the next issue. And I learned a fun fact about issue 103 this year that I didn't really know, that it's that these leprechauns know all about Wolverine more than we, the audience, know, and anybody else on the team really. So 103 will prove that fact.
Interesting.
But here they are rescuing Nightcrawler and sort of secreting him away in the walls.
Little trapdoor.
Right. Leprechauns. But now this is when I think Colossus starts to be the MVP of this issue.
Yes.
He starts coming back, lays a solid right, and just lays him out, and then screams at him. Juggernaut tries to drop a wall on him, and then Colossus goes full acrobatic. He even says, I'm not of an Olympic caliber, but I'm more than sufficient to bounce on. He's like flipping, tuck and roll, and just totally comes back strong.
Some talented ballerina type stuff right there.
Hey, for a heavy dude.
Yeah. That's a great panel. It really is. Kind of just goes back to the front cover there, where it's just like them colliding, but it's more of in favor of Colossus. See his big fist there.
And I love that face. His face when he's screaming. There's great art there in the detail in that face. And then lots of great action going on here. This is some of the best action I think in the whole issue here.
Definitely. Yeah. Oh, it's great.
I actually liked a few panels above this or before this was the Banshee and Black Tom fight again, because we don't really see that a lot. And it was just cool. It wasn't really, it's like, here's the thing, this is the real story with Juggernaut and Colossus. I was like, more.
Right.
Oh yeah, there was like that random scene too where they had like Black Tom he had like his stick or whatever in his hand, and he beat the guy that what was he telling, or what was that last issue? Maybe I'm thinking the last issue.
Oh yeah, that was last issue.
Oh, now I'm mixing them. Okay, yeah, where he was like telling him to get the door or whatever. That's what I'm thinking. But yeah, he doesn't have a lot of major parts in these.
No, it's light on him. So we get a little more. This is towards the end of the issue. The wall starts crumbling down on Juggernaut and Colossus, and somehow it hurts Colossus, but not Juggernaut. He just comes out yet again carrying an X-Man. Storm tries to overcome her fear and tries to zap him, but he apparently can zap her back with it, which I don't remember that ever being a Juggernaut thing, but he does it anyways.
It's Claremont's new addition to the character.
Right. And this is the cliffhanger of this issue is Juggernaut hoisting Colossus and Storm in the air to glory.
And Black Tom's just like, I did it.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, me.
Jennifer, thank you for coming by.
Hey, Jen.
Apex, how do you forget about the leprechauns, man? The leprechauns.
Someone told me earlier today about that the leprechauns, they never really returned to them after. I mean, they do next issue, but that they don't talk too much more about them throughout like Claremont's run. I don't know if that's true or how accurate that is, but
Juggernaut force field can repel energies. Hello, Ryan, the new guy. Thanks for coming, man. Black Tom twirling his mustache, right? Yes.
It's totally a Dr. Evil moment.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. But with an intense Irish accent, I'm sure, if you can really hear it.
Probably with like a nice can of ale or a glass of ale with following this battle, you know?
Absolutely. Irish whiskey all the way.
You gotta bless the leprechauns.
Yeah, right? So how do you guys feel about this ending, Brandon? How do you feel about how this issue kind of rolled? I mean, it started on a cliffhanger battle, ended on a cliffhanger battle sequence in a sense.
I mean, like I said, this issue reminds me a lot about Empires from Star Wars. It's like struggle. Okay, we're going to get a little bit of development and like Storm or / Luke kind of show that history. Now we're back to struggle. We got some hopes for the future, and now we suck again. So we're only the Rebel Alliance. We're only the X-Men. We can't do so much. We're still new at this thing. So come on, guys, bear with us. I mean, again, there's always so much you can do in a comic, again, but I would have liked, and I understand these characters still new, but I would have liked to see a little bit more dynamic between Banshee and Black Tom, just because we never see it, you know. Definitely a lot of because nothing here was necessarily new other than the Storm story, because we've seen Juggernaut, right? We've already seen Black Tom in the previous issue. Now this is like we can expand on that, and it didn't, which is my only flaw to it. Is yes, it was bombastic, it was great in the art and the action. It just, the growth in the other characters did not hit me the same way. Again, Scott's not complaining.
Bombastic, nice word. I love it. Apex is with you. 102, great comic. Let's hear from Justin.
Yeah, I wanted to say I like that Beta Ray Jim in the chat, you put his comment up earlier saying that he was loving the ending. Yeah, so Juggernaut. So I like that they kind of give Juggernaut his moment here. And yeah, if you're a Juggernaut fan, like this is everything and more that you want to see this man do. You know, seeing the X-Men laid out the way that they are, even in the previous panels that you showed where Wolverine was just literally knocked out cold.
Right.
I mean, that's a pretty heavy scene. You know, if you really take it into consideration, like what he just did and kind of how easily he's done it. I mean, he didn't really have that much of a challenge.
Nothing.
And that just goes to show just how powerful and strong Juggernaut is. And it's a good reminder. I think it's just good that you know, Claremont didn't just write off this one issue thing. Okay, Juggernaut's in for an issue and now it's done. No, like this is like going in second. Now we're going into our third issue now in a row where, you know, they're still having to deal with Juggernaut and it's not looking good at all. So I like that they really gave him his moment here. And yeah, that ending, him just holding them up. It's like, oh shoot, like what are they going to do now? Yeah.
Totally.
I agree with you, Justin. Like the one thing I would say about Wolverine is he wasn't really a character that wasn't really like in depth yet, mostly because like now we're like, oh my gosh, he did that to Wolverine, but back then it was more like Wolverine,
just another guy, kind of.
He's like another guy because he didn't really get to shine until John Byrne came in.
Yeah,
you know?
Good point.
So like him swinging Colossus back then meant a whole lot more than this.
Sure.
Oh yeah, and obviously knowing how people feel about his claws being unbreakable, and you know, seeing them just sort of bounce off of Juggernaut without leaving a mark is also kind of shocking these days, right?
Yeah.
So here we got some fun facts about the issue and some math for you if you want to see some statistics on this issue. This is issue 102 of the all-new, all-different X-Men. This is the first official battle between Colossus and Juggernaut and the origin of Storm, her life story, parents' background, how she got her powers, all these kind of things, the evolution of her. And then I included, it's another Lilandra cameo, if you really want one of those, another early Black Tom appearance, and special guest appearance from the awesome Misty Knight.
Oh, boy.
There's a lot in this issue, man. There's definitely a lot of stuff that happens.
This will be an issue, though, however, that goes back to a more traditional arc for cost. We talked a lot about how most times a 9.8 to a 9.6, that jump is usually 2 or 3 at most. This is less than 3. This goes from $300 for a 9.6 to $875 for a 9.8. So less than 3 times is a shocking rarity, considering we've had some that were almost 6 times or more.
Wow. I'm surprised.
There are only 85 9.8s on the registry, 176 9.6, and 259 4s. So a fair amount in that 9.4 range. And then let's see here. If you go down into the 5s range, you can find these for about 40 to 50 bucks. There's just not a ton of them in that range. There's only 11 5.0s. And so you're going to have fewer of the issues, but they'll be more reasonably priced. It only hits 100 when you get up in the 8.5 range.
That's not too bad.
So yeah, a more reasonable book, considering it's the origin of Storm.
Yeah,
I think it's a pretty reasonable book.
I think it will spike again. I think this issue is one that will spike, especially because we're seeing a lot of minority characters being heavily pushed by Marvel. So I think this one, we're going to see a spike in the near future. I don't know how near, but once you're, it all depends on what Marvel decides to do with the MCU. X-Men, I think they're going to focus heavily on their minority X-Men, bringing them to these kind of moments in Claremont's run, because that's what him, Cockrum, and Byrne really brought, was that minority kind of like diversity in comics. Is one of the first times we really saw that after Kirby left. So yeah, that's really, I think it'll spike.
I think this book is definitely undervalued for this run in particular.
Right.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, I'm looking at that 9.6 for $300. I'm like, it's not that bad. I wouldn't mind having a 9.6 in.
Yeah, if you go back to the previous ones we've posted this run, 9.6s aren't going for that price.
No. And also what Chet said before about, if this shows about with signatures, usually from what I've noticed anyways, Stan Lee signatures usually bump up some of these 70s books
a lot.
by about $500 to $1,000, but depending on, obviously the seller and things like that. I mean, some they bump it up obnoxious numbers, but I think a reasonable price bump is like $500 ish.
Depending on the grade too.
Right.
So even like this kind of a Stan Lee signature may not even be one that's heavily on the market, just because it's like, if you see Stan at a convention, is this the issue I'm getting signed? You have a plethora of issues that you could bring to Stan Lee.
Right.
You must be like a die-hard either X-Men or Storm fan, or hey, if you're Irish, Banshee, just to say,
or your Chet.
Yeah.
Or your Chet, and it's just anal about this whole run. I love you,
absolutely on it, no question.
I love you, Chet, with your Stan Lee sig. Only Stan Lee, though. Come on now.
Well, that's the end of X-Men issue 102, our discussion and breakdown. Like I said, I got links for these guys down below, but those of you who are sticking around here now, we can dive into some trivia from X-Men 101's discussion. I didn't mention it at the beginning of the show, but we do trivia at the end of every one of these shows, looking back at the previous issue. And if you can answer correctly, you get earned tickets into the raffle so that you can win the second volume in the X-Men Omnibus.
Oh, yeah.
And then I'm keeping track of a scorecard for the first two people that answer and the funniest answer we get in the chat. And those points get tallied up so that we have an overall winner and a raffle winner when we get to the point when we're ready to decide we're calling it quits on this round.
Yeah, call me out.
Brandon,
yep.
You ever call out my lack of sig again?
It's because we were talking before this live show about like what we know him as. I was like, yeah, you're the sig dude.
He's the sig boss right now, I'll tell you.
I like Beta's response here about his disappointment that there's no Anti-Men in this issue.
He's never going to get over that. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen. Yes, Jackson Roy Kirk, you're right. The second omnibus comes out this month.
Yes, it does.
But we will not be pulling the winner this month. We're going to wait a little. We're going to get a little deeper into this first omnibus. We might even wait till the end of this first omnibus before we draw the name of the winner for volume 2.
Yeah, I like that.
So, Justin, you want to go first or second?
Sure. Yeah, I'll kick off.
Okay.
This is a fairly easy one. I'll start with. So first question here is which X-Man freaked out when Professor X told the group that they were going on an enforced vacation last issue? Professor S. He broke the news that they were all going to go on an enforced vacation, and somebody freaked out.
Not everybody likes to be forced on vacation. You want to go at your own will.
Not everyone wants to go to Ireland, though.
that could be it too. Yeah, this person was not happy. Not happy. Oh, there it is. Yeah,
Chet with answer number 1, and I see Beta Ray Jim with answer number 2.
Oh man, I'm so used to typing out. I got issues here. This is interesting. He hasn't been here tonight.
He's sleeping tonight. Chance for the chat to catch up.
It's election night.
Right.
So I understand why everyone's here right now.
I was going to say, I would imagine that would give us a bigger audience, because I definitely don't want to be watching that right now.
Yeah, no.
If my parents start screaming upstairs, I know who won.
Oh gosh.
There you go. John, I sent your signature census I sent you the signature census. Oh, you did. I'm sorry that I didn't include it then. My mistake. Thank you to TJ, because he gives us he sends me the screenshots for the go collect information for each issue that we show in our slideshow. So
yeah, thank you, TJ. Yeah. Always.
Apex, you did say Logan, but you were third on my screen. I had Chet, then Beta Ray Jim, and then you.
No funny answers this one.
Oh,
top 2.
Chat and make sure, but that's the order that I have it in.
Yeah, I got the same.
And yeah, that's the order I got it in. Okay. So, question numero 2. I'm going to go with, I complained that the issue last time was a little slow, not a lot of action, but one thing Storm did really redeemed the issue last week. What did Storm do last week to redeem issue 101?
Need to get some theme music in here for...
Yeah.
Yeah.
The X-Men cartoon. I'm back.
Oh yeah. Love that theme song. That was awesome.
Never gets old. It never gets
Yep.
old.
Let's see here.
Talking, and I'm like,
I see Comic Chop news first. Let's see here. Did I get that right? She did. She get naked. She get naked. So Dan of Comic Chop,
Nice.
I got you first. And let's see here. I'm gonna go with Jim next with side boob. I'm gonna count it. Count it. Jim, I'm gonna count that side boob as second correct answer. And I haven't seen any comedy answers. Let me see here.
Yeah, usually Lasso steals one with that.
Cindy Birdsong of the Supremes.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yep.
There you go.
I missed that.
I'm sorry, I was just too excited to talk about Storm to really get that one in.
Taking a bath.
Naked bath. Yep, that's what she does.
Rather than like clothed bath.
It's close,
oh my god,
it's close.
Let's see. Let's see what you got here, Lasso. Right, Beta Ray Jim. Let's check it on I'll check the official thing here. You know what? I think Lasso, what might have happened is that because of the way it was typed in, it was like I had to like allow it. Let me refresh that screen and see if it moves you up at all. It was like blocked, and then I had to up it. Let's see here. I have you in second now, so I'll give you a point for that one, Lasso. I'll bump you up for that. But I still have Dan ahead of you on that one. Okay, so that is back to you, Justin.
All right. Second question for me is last episode I showed an X-Men book that I just acquired. What was that X-Men book that I showed on screen that I got in the mail a couple days prior? It's a very special issue that I got in really nice condition too. So you had to have seen the episode to know this one. Oh,
my lips are still shut.
John, I wasn't hearing anything if you were talking.
Sorry, I was saying that Brandon. I've left the link for his YouTube channel down below, and I put the link for his Instagram in the chat. I believe we've got this as the correct answer.
That is correct.
And
294.
TJ gets a point.
Nice.
For the second correct answer.
Yes.
Dan is picking up some steam today.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. That's two for him here.
Getting in it. And Beta Ray Jim with X-Men Meet the Care Bears. So that is worth a point, good sir.
I like that.
Comedy of the highest order.
So excited seeing a cover with that, especially if Scotty Young drew it. Just
right?
It.
They just had Transformers meet My Little Pony. Why couldn't they do that? Come on.
Yeah, I want to know how that happened. Did like Bumblebee get horny all of a sudden?
Somebody smoked too much weed and then tried to write a comic. That's how it happened.
Yeah, it's exactly
where you said, "Hey, this might be a winner."
Yeah.
The next question is perfect for TJ because he knows my collection probably better than I do. The question is, what was the grade of my X-Men 101? I had my X-Men 101 behind me for the show last time, and I think the episode before that. The episode before that, I might have had it up too. So what is the grade of my X-Men 101?
It's always good to be paying attention to what John has in the background. You never know. You never know when it's going to be part of the questions or something on our T-shirts. You never know. Sometimes these questions come up. Always take note of what we got.
Nice try. Nice try. It is Lasso, and then I got Chet. Correct answers from Lasso first.
Now, keep in mind, guys, he's an Ultimate Fallout 4 and a God.
And Chet. So Lasso with a raffle ticket. I don't know if that's Lasso's first raffle ticket, but Lasso gets a raffle ticket. Yep. TJ got the grade wrong? Dinging me for another half a point? Come on.
Whoa.
That's like an extra $200.
Well, and it was a book owned by his good friend Thanatos, and then it came to me. So it's a book that he's very familiar with in some ways.
That's cool that it's passed around. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's the only time I've ever officially pulled a trade with somebody, and it worked out really well for both of us.
Nice.
So that wraps us up for tonight. We're back on KnowGood Comics channel next week for issue 103 and finishing off this Cassidy Brothers duel.
Yes.
Please make sure you've subscribed to Justin's channel. I put the link down below. I gave you the link to Brandon's channel and his Instagram. Brandon, you got lots of things going on. He interviewed the writers of one of my favorite current comics, Last God, such a great comic book. You interviewed, I'm going to screw it up. Is it Kennedy, Johnson Kennedy?
Philip Kennedy Johnson.
Kennedy Johnson, yeah. Mr. Kennedy Johnson.
That's cool.
So you can find that on his Instagram. But I know you got a ton of things coming up. Do you want to let us know what's going on?
So I just finished shooting an episode for Future Past, not like X-Men Future Past, but it's a show where I take 2 issues, one newer, one older. I put them under similar theme, and I go over them, and I compare them, see which one won. This theme is Bizarre Wedding, so I'm hoping to get that out once Instagram puts the hashtags back out there because they're screwing me over at the election. So I compared Fantastic Four 300 with X-Men Gold number 30. So it was a really funny issue because Johnny marries a Skrull, Gambit and Rogue slide in on Kitty and Colossus' wedding. It's like kind of what could possibly go wrong in a wedding. So that was really cool. And then on November 14th, I'm going to be having Brad Walker on our show for an interview. He is the current artist on Detective Comics, and in my opinion, one of the best ones we've had in a while, in a very, very long time. He's also been doing the Joker War tie-ins. If you guys are not familiar with that, he did the first arc with Following 1000. So I'm really excited to have him on the show. And then 3 Jokers reviews coming out next week. I'm going to be linking up with Gotham Geek Girl. So we're going to be doing that. And then I'm doing my Empire review. And I believe that's all I have for my channel.
Nice.
Through IG Live for now. So make sure you guys go give me a follow and just stay tuned. Appreciate it.
That's a ton, man. That's amazing. I was trying to pull my newest issue of Detective out, but it's buried away in a box.
Oh, I got my trade right here because I've been trying to. It's
nice.
Night. Just the interiors. So I'm going to flip to a random page. They're just gorgeous. Oh.
Yeah. Boom. There you go. Sorry.
Oh, now I'm big. Now I can do it again. Just like these panels are gorgeous, and I'm just excited to talk to him because I love seeing Peter Tomasi at cons around me, and I love.
Awesome.
It's Batman.
Can't go wrong. Yeah, man. That's awesome, man.
Did you got anything coming up on your channel that you want people to know about? I know you got every weekend you got an interview going.
Yeah, so that's the big thing for me is just the Comic Collector Origins, keeping that going. And actually, my guest this Saturday is going to be JP Collects. So if you guys are not familiar with JP, he does a ton of content over on his YouTube channel, along with some fun stuff over on his Instagram page. So I'm excited to have him as a guest. As some of you might know, I was just on his channel along with John to do another breakdown of an indie show comic book, which was really fun too. So yeah, we'll be doing that and just gonna continue reading some X-Men. That's about it right now.
Awesome. Jet says press that 5.5. TJ says no, it's overgraded. So you guys are hilarious. Beta Ray Jim, thanks for coming by. Don't touch your books. Hey, Jim says stretch that spine. So there you guys can duke that out.
Can I touch this? This is the first one I found.
He's still scarred from I got issues.
What if I really want to read it? What do I do?
Yeah.
So tomorrow I've got book club on my channel, and we're going to be looking at the new Donny Cates Image book, issue number 1 crossover. So make sure you're coming around. We're going to be talking about that, White Whale and I. Thursday, I dropped my pull list looking at next week's comics and what I'm going to be picking up. So you want to tune into that live premiere, which is going to be 6:45 Eastern on Thursday. And then Thursday night at 10 o'clock Eastern, I've got TJ and Rob Justarican on my channel, and we're going to be looking at all the books I had pressed and cleaned, and which ones we're going to break down some of the money to pick which ones I'm going to actually send off to be slabbed from CGC.
Ooh,
So it should be a great chance to learn a little bit about the slabbing process. This is really only the second full submission I've sent. So I'm still breaking down the finances of it, how it works, why one book would be one that I prefer raw versus slabbed. And we'll go through these 24 books and make some decisions.
That's cool, man. I'm gonna have to catch that because I'm still learning, just submitting and all that.
I'm learning a ton, and having TJ there is a great resource. And Rod's always got a bunch of questions because I'm somewhere in the middle. Rod's never submitted anything, but he's got stuff he's thinking about. TJ's submitted a ton and is just super familiar with it. And I'm on phase 2. Like, let's try another round of books.
Nice. Cool, man. I'll have to catch that.
I'm kind of picky about my grading. It's like, I'm at the point where it's like, there's some books I want to preserve, and there's some books like I might want to read this again. You know, like I have my Daredevil 131 right here. So, Bullseye.
Nice.
I love that book. Great book.
Yeah, 9/4, beautiful.
My summer project was collecting Daredevils, and I have almost a complete run now. So that's very exciting.
Very cool.
I need a few more. So obviously I want number 1 slabbed, want 168 slabbed, preferably 158 slabbed.
Oh yeah.
But everything else, maybe 7 I might upgrade to slabbed, but everything
That's a great one. Yeah, absolutely. So thanks everybody for coming by. Subscribe to all the channels, then check them all out. And we will see you back on Justin's channel next week.
Sounds good. Thanks everybody.
Bye, gang.